This video is going to be of removing a running suture. First, you have to understand the anatomy of a running suture. A running suture is, shift to here, a simple suture, okay, however, this tail, come here, this tail of the simple suture continues on to form the running suture. As you can see, this line continues on and becomes part of this. I'm going to just now grab this loop. So we've established that this and this are the same line. You grab this.
Put your hands in the way.
And you make the knot. 1, 2, 3. So basically this string goes under here, continues on here, and melds into this knot, and this is going to be the tail which gets cut. So now we return to the running suture, and you see that at the North Pole you have one leg, two legs forming the simple suture part of things, and then the tail which forms the running suture. At the South Pole you have the tail as, again, one of the tails forming one of the legs, and then the other two aspects which are the simple suture aspects of the South Pole. Before learning the removal of a running suture, I want to look at the correct removal of a simple suture. The correct removal of a simple suture requires removing only one leg, okay, of this simple suture, and then you pull the rest of the string out. And you see that this, this would have made a loop connecting here, and that was your simple suture. Now imagine we remove the simple suture incorrectly. One of many incorrect ways of removing the simple suture is to say, let me cut this leg, and let me cut this leg. And look what happens. If the skin moves or what have you, you see that the tail got lost underneath the skin, and this can get lost underneath the skin too if you push it enough times. See, now it's gone underneath the skin. And if we look closely, of course we can see that if you pull it, we can dig it out. I'm doing this blindly, but you see here that was under the skin. So you can imagine the same phenomenon happening with the one pole of the running suture. If I were to cut both of these and this one, both sides, well, you're going to have a tail, okay, that's cut, that's going to get lost under the skin, and you're going to get the underside of the simple suture aspect caught under the skin. So what we have to do is, the other problem is in real life, it's very hard to tell which side has two, because if there's crust over this, which side has the two legs and which side has the one leg. So what we have to do is pick a side, or cut this side, or cut that side. So we're going to do that now, and I am going to cut this side. Cut, okay? Now I pull up, and if I pull up and I see that the knot doesn't come, well, then I have to go in between here and make sure that I see this string. That's very important to go under the loop and pull up. And now that I see that I got this string, I can now release this aspect. Let's go to the other side. I also have to release or one side or another side. In this case, I am going to release I'm going to release the side with 2, okay? Just by luck, I did that. Now look, I pull up, and that comes out. What I have left is just 2 tails that are buried under the skin, and finally, all I need to do is go in the center aspect, lift, and the whole string comes out, and I'm done. So, the first mistake of removing the running suture is to cut both of these sides at once, as we explained before. The other mistake is to cut the center first, which is what people commonly do. They will cut the center, like that, okay? Now both of these get buried under the skin, or at least one of them get buried under the skin. And then they'll compound the error by, gee whiz, if I happen to cut this side and I think that I'm doing it right, I cut one side, I pull this out, and you still have this buried under the skin, okay, that you can't get out. It's not coming out there, but just be patient. You see, now it's even lost in the mannequin. Needless to say, this will cause some tissue reaction in the skin in your wound. Okay, and to review, you pick one side of the knot. I'm on purpose going to pick the sides with the two. You pull up and you see that you got the knot out. That's great. Then you go to the other pole and you pick one side arbitrarily. I'm purposely picking the side with just one leg, just for contrast. Okay, I lift up and I see that the knot isn't coming out. Therefore, I have to go under this loop and release that string. And only then can I release this knot. And finally, I pull up from the center.
And you always want to keep the pulling force to one side of the wound. This will ensure that the wound is still closed at the end. And you always want to keep the cut as close to the skin as possible. And in this fashion, you avoid the sutures that have been exposed to the open air to move underneath the wound. In this fashion, you reduce the risk of infection. And now this is the last suture. Just going to pull it out from one side.